Welcome into Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps here for our Week 7 preview show, talking all things South Carolina high school football. We got Jerel Hendricks on the board as always. John, another loaded slate. I know we've said it the past couple weeks, region play is just getting going, but there are some matchups that feel like they're going to be for the number 1 seed in a lot of these regions as well.
Yeah, and not only that, but a lot of games this week are going to decide for me who I like through the playoffs too.
Yeah.
There's some really, really not just region specific good games, but across the state.
Certainly are. As always, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, Instagram, YouTube, and more at Movin Chains. Our website, movinchains.com. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and wherever you find your podcast. We do our weekly preview show live Tuesday night, 7:15 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. That comes out later on as a podcast as well. We have coach interviews, player interviews, all kinds of great stuff throughout the week for you to tune into on our social media platforms. So please be sure to do that and check out our website to see that content as well. Right now, be sure to get your Moving the Chains merch. Support the boys. We've got some great stuff like some nice T-shirts here, a black T-shirt, a navy blue T-shirt, a gray, and a pink for the ladies. Some great hoodies, kind of a grayish color here. I've got it upside down, sorry. Kind of a grayish color here along with a white color. You can email us at info@movinchains.com, or you can send us a DM on any of the social media platforms to order yours. Some great hats as well. Richardson hats, a gray front, different color backs, also a black front one you can see up there as well. Some great toboggans right now. That colder weather is coming. We are hitting the fall time, guys. Get that for the games. And also you're Moving the Chain stickers. Saw a great picture from our friend Danny Miles. Put some on his big South Florence Bruins van last week. They look great, so appreciate him doing that. Look great on laptops, cups, whatever you want to do. Get those. As Jerel says here, get your woolly caps as well. Make sure you get those and support the boys. Email us info@movinchains.com or send us a message on any of the social media platforms. Love to see you guys repping the gear, helping spread the word across the state, not only on Friday nights, but just throughout the week as well. John, Jerel, any other comments from you guys as we get ready to roll here with our Week 7 preview show?
I don't want any awkward silence today, so I'm just going to pop in and pop these comments up for you guys.
Brandon says, what's up, guys? Good week games coming up. He's going to Clinton Chesney. That will be a fun one. Chesney's an improved team. Clinton seems to be hitting their stride as well. We'll break down that one later on in the 2A ranks. Kevron says, good evening. Good to see you, Kevron. Appreciate you joining us as always. Courtney says, hey, my guys, good afternoon. Hope you have a good Tuesday. We are having a great day, Courtney. Hope you are also. Patrick, what's up? Good seeing you, Patrick. Appreciate you. Big one for the Indians this week. Instant classic against the Burns at the reservation. Yeah, always a fun when those two guys get together there, Patrick. So that's certainly a big game to talk about here in a little bit. Zach says, hey, Jerel, I'm here to say if you you'll put my Clinton Red Devils on upset alert again this week. It lit a fire into the guys last Friday versus Liberty. Jerel, in case you guys didn't see it, we've got a new graphic that comes out on Thursdays. We kind of put together some games we're looking forward to, upset alert, points and whatnot. And Jerel happened to pick Clinton as his upset alert watch last week, and looks like it backfired for you there.
Man, I had the worst ones. I had that one. I had Carver's Bay Lana. That was a blowout. I had Southside Christian and Powdersville. I mean, Powdersville shut those boys out, and just hopefully I could do much better this week. Hey, I know Patrick was saying something about me. Gaffney had a tight one.
He put Gaffney up to the alert again. Hey, the Eastside game was tight. We said to watch out for that one. Eastside's much improved. They're a lot better team, kind of a look-ahead spot for Gaffney possibly, but they got the W, which is all that matters. Dion says, good evening, guys. Good seeing you, Dion. Appreciate you joining us. John says, what's up, guys? Need to make it to Greenwood this week. Certainly an option. That's a big matchup down there between the Red Raiders and the Eagles. Always a great time at the BAB. Travis says, what's up, guys? Good seeing you, Travis. Appreciate you joining us on YouTube. Moses says, what's up, guys? Powdersville checking in. The Patriots, a big game this week. We'll talk about that here in just a minute, Moses. Looking forward to that 3A matchup. John says, how about Loris? The Lions have now knocked off Dillon 2 years in a row after not beating them for 60 years, man. Wild game down there in the White Walls last Friday, it sounded like, for sure.
Let's get to these CONA games, guys.
Our CONA games of the week, as always, guys, we picked 5 of the biggest games across the state to break down in depth for you. Let's start this week down in the 1A ranks, John. A game that like I just mentioned, I feel is the region title right here. And that's Scotts Branch. The Eagles at 5-1, traveling to take on the 6-1 Cross Trojans. Cross, your lower state champs last year out of 1A, and they're looking to repeat. The Trojans won this matchup last year 54-12, and they are red hot again. They defeated St. John's 42-0 last week, averaging 32 on offense, allowing just 4 per game on defense. Scotts Branch, they're coming off a bye. Got extra week of prep time here. 2 weeks ago, they played that same St. John's team, beat them 54-0. A little bit tighter on their scoreline here, averaging only 24 per game on offense, allowing 17 on defense. John, a Scotts Branch team that is kind of surprised this year, seem to be playing some really good football. Cross, we know they're going to be there at the end. Can the Eagles, knock off this region foe here, or what do you like in this matchup?
I like Cross in this game. Cross has played great defense the entire season. Their worst game defensively, I think, was the Timberland game. Yeah. A really good Timberland team lost 7-6. I think, defense, you can count on defense. You got really good defense. You can count on that. Cross gets to play at home. Yep. I think the defense makes the difference in this game, but I think we see a pretty close game. I don't think we're going to see a blowout like we did last year. This Scotts Branch team, really, really good football team. They beat a good Branchville team. Similar, Cross did as well. Branchville's a pretty solid group. They both beat up on Branchville. I expect to see a close game. It might be the first team to 20 wins this one, though. I think we're going to see a really low-scoring defensive battle in this one. But it's taken me a couple years now, Kev, but I believe in Cross now.
Big Cross, John.
I think the defense prevails here for this one.
This Scotts Branch team I've really liked this year. They're led by quarterback Javen Connors. He's the man for them, leads them in rushing and passing into the quarterback. So a true dual threat. In that win over St. John's, 17 for 24, 253, 6 touchdowns passing, another 28 rushing yards, and another touchdown there. Receivers, Nyron Bowman had 2 touchdowns, Quentin Jackson 2 touchdowns, and Williams and Rogers 1 touchdown each. Defensively led by Bowman, Richardson, Bennett, and Reagan. On the Cross side, quarterback Tyler Harris last week, 14 for 16, 174, 3 touchdowns. Running back Mekhi Green, 8 for 137 and a touchdown. Everybody knows about do-it-all athlete Caden Ramsey, a Super 75 guy, a South Carolina commit. Not sure if he'll be a tight end, receiver, DB. I don't know, but he does it all for the Trojans. Had 2 touchdowns last week. He's got 11 touchdowns this season, John, in 4 different ways. That's a punt return, a kick return, a rush, and a reception so far. He'll probably get a pick 6 at some point as well. So I'm thinking at least 5, maybe 6 different ways he scores this season. Defensively, Jimmy Smith, Ramsey on the back end, and Michael Bennett up front is a monster on the DL for them. He's a really good player for Coach Wright down there. This is a game where I think it matters that Cross has been there before. Like, that's a big deal what they did last year, going all the way to state title. Like, they're used to playing in big games yet. They already are. And I think Scotts Branch, kind of bit of an upstart right now. I don't know if they'll be quite ready for this tough of test. Even though they have been tested this year, they have great wins over Manning and Lakeview. This is a different monster here when you're playing the big dog in your region.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, beating Lakeview is a big deal. That's a really
on the
really
road
big deal.
as well.
They're a really good football team this year too. It's not like, hey, you just beat the helmet. I think this can be a tight game. Cross has got to earn it. They got to play well.
I do want to give a hats off to head coach Patrick Fleming at the Scotts Branch. Looking back, this team 2 years ago, 2023, they didn't win a game. Last year, 2024, 4-7. This year, already 5-1, man. Love what he's doing there with that program, a team that had been down for a while. He's making them into a legit program, a contender. Love what he's doing. I love Javen Connors. I mean, I want to say it could be close because I think Conyers is the real deal at quarterback, but I think Cross is too much, man. I think that what they've got up front and how they can match up out wide with the different weapons they have, with Ramsey and Green and whatnot, I think Cross wins this game. I think it might get out of hand in the second half, especially at home here.
Okay.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this big 1A matchup?
Yeah, let's get the graphic ready. All 3 of us, I guess, going Cross here. Again, I like Cross. We've really followed this program a lot. But I'm glad you mentioned that. This is Scotts Branch program that I don't remember us talking about much, over the last – sorry, thanks for changing that. Over the last few years. So it is great that we're able to highlight them as a game of the week here. Again, you always want to lean towards those when making picks, lean towards those metrics, like the team that's been there, the team that's playing at home. They're used to this moment. You talked about Caden Ramsey being such a, he's played in these huge games. He's a senior, his time. I did not realize he had scored in so many different ways, but he does it all for these guys. So I like the Trojans here. But again, I'm like John. I think it's going to be a low-scoring matchup here. I think this one should be a tight one. But again, you just have to lean towards the program, the team, and the players that have been in these big moments before.
Great point there. Should be a fantastic matchup. Dion says 20-7 Cross. Zach says Cross and the USC commit is way too much for Scott Sprint. It's kind of how I feel too, man. I mean, I will say having a dual threat like Conyers gives you a chance in this game for sure. But I think Cross is too many athletes. Elk says 20-7 Cross as well. Courtney's got Cross 45-7.
That's a big prediction. So yeah, we just want to give some more shout outs to people who joined the program as well.
Ross is still taking Thoroughbreds. What's going on? Big win for them last week. Appreciate you joining us, Ra. Brandon says surprising Newberry need a comeback. Yeah, that was an odd game. We'll break down that in a little bit, but Newberry's still a good football team, no doubt about it. Christy says, hello, guys. Let's go Carver's Bay. Huge win for the Bears last week. I may have been the only one to pick them. I don't want to say anything, guys. I know y'all are on the Vikings there, but the Bears look good. The Bears look good. They are a dominant 1A team as well. It's going to be fun to follow them the rest of the way this season. Appreciate you joining us, Christy.
And Christy, stay tuned. We might have something special for Carver's Bay coming up as well. But that's all we have on this game, guys.
Our second CONA game of the week, a big 3A matchup. We've got the Christchurch Cavaliers at 5-1, traveling to take on the 4-2 Powdersville Patriots, John. Christchurch coming off a big 39-34 win over rival St. Joe's, averaging 34 on offense, 25 allowed on defense. Quarterback Judd Wyndham becoming more and more comfortable. 10 for 15, 181, 2 touchdowns last week. Running back Michael Martin, a former player of the week of ours, is getting better and better as well. Had 37 touches for 223, 3 touchdowns last week. They've got tons of athletes out wide. Jude Hall, Ant Atkins, Hamp Shields, Atkins, and Hall are both Super 75 guys for us. Offensive line led by Rody Barnett, Victor Sanders, Nemo Lomax. Defensively, Blake Forrell, 9 tackles, 2 TFLs last week. Reed Hipp, John Waldrop, George Michael Stathakis, and Atkins on the back end are also key players for Coach Hatfield on that side of the football. Powdersville, a shutout win, Jerel mentioned earlier, over Southside Christian, 24-0. Did not see that goose egg coming there in that matchup. The Patriots, averaging 35 on offense, 28 allowed on defense, led by quarterback Kagan Reed, another Super 75 guy for us. They've got Tavius Williams and Xavier Huggins on the outside. Huggins, great game last week, 4 for 74 and a touchdown. Defensively, Jaden Wirtz, 21 tackles in last week's game. Jaden McGreer's a great player as well, along with Huggins, who had 6 tackles and a blocked field goal. And I want to shout out defensive lineman Zach Taylor. Had an awesome pick 6 I saw a highlight of. Love to see the big man get in the end zone there for Coach Mustard's bunch. John, this game last year, kind of a blowout. Powdersville won 33-14. I'm thinking we'll see something closer this week. What do you feel in this Patriots-Cavs matchup?
I have no idea what to think in this game. Powdersville's been a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde this year. They've looked really good last week in the shutout win, their first region game. But the first game of the year, they get blown out by a good Seneca team. And then, a few weeks ago, they give up 53 to Broome, and they lose to a Broome team that they're moving some pieces around. Not sure they have it all figured out yet, but boy, they had it figured out that game.
Yeah.
Really what it comes down to for me is I'm really worried about the Powdersville defense. When they are getting beat, they're getting beat. They're getting up a lot of points in some games, and their Christchurch offense, pretty good offense. They can score in their own right as well. I think maybe because I know Powdersville a little bit more, I know the program more, and I like them. And I like them at home. I want to lean Powdersville in this, but they got to find something. They got to do what they did last week defensively. Yeah. They don't have to get a shutout, but keep that mojo going of keeping the score a little lower. And I like Powdersville. They can continue to do that, but they got to make some stops.
Should be a fantastic atmosphere over there, I think, for sure, on Friday as well. And like you mentioned, the defense for Powdersville, kind of up and down. Like, that was a surprise last week when they shut out Southside Christian. That was a great job by Coach Nimmer's bunch on that side of the football. Interesting to see how they match up this week. I think Christchurch, a few more weapons than Southside Christian had, for sure. One thing that worries me, John, about Christchurch, 3 turnovers last week. In a game like this, you can't have that. That was a close game. They won last week, 39-34. Certainly could have cost them. Don't want to see that this week. But you look at it, I think Christchurch matches up well on the back end with Powdersville's receivers. Like, we know that the Coach Muster and that team wants to throw it with Reed there. I think Ant Atkins and that crew on the back end for Christchurch can do a good job kind of somewhat neutralizing some of those weapons they have. So it might come down to, can Powdersville run the ball? What can they get going on the ground? And I don't know what that offense looks like there for them if they can't get the pass game going. I like both these teams a lot. I think they both can make deep runs in 3A, what I think is becoming a deeper and deeper 3A every week, it feels like. But yeah, I like Christchurch, a few more guys, it feels like, on offense, and I just trust them a little bit more right now. I think the Cavs go on the road, get a win, but I think it's something close. Honestly, I think a lot of points, too. Maybe like a 35-31 game, like a 31-28. I'm thinking on a high-scoring, tight game, but I like the Cavs with just enough offense, just enough stops to win this one here on the road. But should be a fantastic matchup. Jerel, what do you like in this one? What's the chat saying about this big-time 3A matchup?
Well, I got to start by saying nice things. These are 2 programs that we have covered intimately a lot over the last years, and these are 2 programs that have been great to our program. So I want to thank
Church Hat over here.
Yeah, Coach Hatfield, Coach Muster there. I mean, those are 2 of the best in the state. Just want to thank them for what they do to help us so that we can help, talk about their programs. I got no football analysis. You guys have done that in a great way. I am going to put a challenge out to Powdersville. I'm going to pick them this week. Every time I pick against Powdersville, they prove me wrong. Like, they make me look bad. So I'm going to challenge Coach Muster, Coach Nimmer, the whole bunch. Prove me right this week. I'm picking Powdersville, not giving a reason. I think the Patriots win the game.
I love it. Yeah, we've all been to games at Powdersville, and it can be a great time over there. Like, I mean, that atmosphere, that crowd gets into it. Should be fantastic again on Friday. That's another game I'm possibly looking at maybe going to. I think that should be a great matchup as well between those 2. But we shall see. What's the chat saying? 38-35 Christchurch, says Dion. Brandon says 38-31 Christchurch. Could be region title. Agree with the Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah, I think these are the 2 best teams in that region. I think so for sure. I don't know who would challenge them. I really don't. Zach says Powdersville can't stop Mark from Christchurch. Could get ugly early.
Courtney's got Powdersville winning 30-24.
Jessica said, even though it's off week, go Camden. The Bulldogs hung tough against South Point last week. Couldn't quite get the win, but they played a good football game, much better than what a lot of folks expected in that one. Back to this game, guys. I mean, I'm thinking really tight here. Am I wrong thinking this should be a close game? And I'm thinking kind of high scoring as well.
I think 30s or 40s.
Okay.
It should be high scoring. I think both of these offenses have proven that they can get it done. But again, Coach Nimmer proved me wrong last week. Let's see what he brings to the table this week. We'll see what happens.
Could be a little teaser for what's on our Points Factory graphic on Thursday. This one might make the cut for somebody. I don't know.
Not me. So
definitely scared off of the Patriots.
I'm not touching them the rest of the year. Let's go to the next one, guys.
Our third CONA game of the week, a big-time 5A matchup with 2 5-1 teams getting after it. That's the Greenwood Eagles hosting the Greenville Red Raiders. Greenville, a big win over Easley, 42-16 last week, averaging 25 on offense, 14 allowed on defense. Greenwood, 33-10 over Malden, averaging 34 on offense, 22 allowed on defense. Last year, Greenwood won 34-20, John. This Greenville team has been tough to figure out. They took the loss back in week 0 to Dorman, really non-competitive, have looked great since then, have some big wins since then. Greenwood, their one blemish a couple weeks ago, the kind of an odd loss to TL Hannon where they had a big lead in that one. They've got some big wins. They beat that Dorman team that beat Greenville already. They beat a Hillcrest team that we think is solid. What do you make of this big game here? I think this is another one that, well, I guess TL Hannon is in there as well, so probably not quite for the region title, but another really big matchup here in this 5A region.
Yeah, this is a really fun game here. We're going to see some good athletes on the football field. I watched that Greenville Gaffney game. Greenville showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit in that game. Really good athletic quarterback play. They played 2 quarterbacks in that game.
Still doing that, yeah.
And I don't remember the second guy's name, but he's athletic guy, moves really well. And I like that with the Red Raiders. I like their athletic ability. They're pretty sound defensively as well. Greenwood, of course, with Lewis, the guy is tough to contain. Offensively, he's tough to keep in the box. Greenwood's a little bit. I have more of a question about Greenwood than I do Greenville, because I watched a game with them. I watched the Hillcrest game, and they look good. They just couldn't. They couldn't put them away.
They had a problem with that too. TL Hanna, they had the big lead and couldn't put them away, and they got bit in that game.
And they give up. I think their defensive line's pretty good, but on the back end of that defense, they give up some chunk plays, and that's where Hillcrest really took advantage. And while Greenville's their passing game was okay, I'm worried about them letting those quarterbacks get outside and really make some plays with their legs, or a play that's breaking down that the quarterback can extend and then find a guy wide open downfield. That's what scares me there. I think Greenwood's got to find a way to minimize the big plays. If they can do that, I think they win this game. I think they're the better team in this ball game. I think they're the more complete football team. But Greenville could certainly beat them. Greenville can certainly beat them. I think they had the big playability that is probably the worst thing if you're Greenwood, when you're looking at an opponent going, oh, great, they can hit some big plays. That's not good for us. But I like Greenwood in this game. I think they're going to find a way to win. I think it's going to be another what we've seen out of Greenwood all year. I think it's going to be a relatively low-scoring, close football game. I think it's going to be a really competitive game, really good game. I like Greenwood. I like their town a little bit better. I think they're a little bit more complete. So I'm going to go with the Eagles pulling this one out.
Greenville, you mentioned playing 2 quarterbacks, still doing that. They got the youngster Keyshawn Farrow, who I believe leads them in passing and rushing. Really dynamic athlete back there at the quarterback spot. Trip Bryant, the lefty, also getting some time there and playing some receiver as well for Coach Watson's bunch. Also receiver Jaden Rice, 9 for 181 last week. Defensively, Jacob Christie, 6 tackles, 3 TFLs. Julian Renrick, 4 tackles, 2 TFLs. The big defensive end, Franklin Whitley, the basketball player, getting offers from everybody, Georgia, South Carolina, Clemson. Everybody wants him right now. And then also they have also plays Bradley Lucas on defense as well. And Coach Scoot Watson, known for his defense, he's going to have a good game plan for that Eagles group. So we'll see how that shakes out. Greenwood, you mentioned, led by Mr. Do-Everything, Tristan Lewis, the quarterback spot, South Carolina commit, Super 75 guy for us last week, 20 for 33, 293, 2 touchdowns passing, another 70 yards rushing with 2 more touchdowns. Running back Trey Crawford, 29 for 72. I don't have it written down correctly. Sorry, and a touchdown, Trey. Receiver Jay Duncan, 10 for 140 and a touchdown. Desiree Christian, also a weapon, defensively led by Demarion Roman, defensive lineman Ahmad Scott, and Bryce Seaborn. And you hit the nail on the head, John. They've had a hard time finishing football games. They've had multiple games. They've had big leads and let the other team kind of get back into it. That worries you in a tight game like this. If you just look at the score lines, you're like, all right, Dorman hammered Greenville, Greenwood beat Dorman. So transitive property, Greenwood should win this game. But I think Greenville is much improved from that Week 0 team we thought. I think that Red Raiders bunch is a lot better than they were against Dorman. I think they're a real contender in 5A, it feels like. And I mentioned it, Coach Watson, he'll have a great game plan for Tristan Lewis. I don't know how you game plan for him, but I'm sure he'll have some kind of idea of what to do to stop him. I think a key for Greenwood this year is that the receivers have stepped up with Christian and Duncan, and that gives you an option where you can't just key on the rushing attack with Crawford and Lewis. You got to play back a little bit too, because those guys can burn you. I don't know which one you want to take away, honestly, because they're both so dangerous. If you let Lewis get loose running, I mean, that's 6 every time. He'll go over 60, 70, 80 a pop. So really tough to defend them there. I'm going to go with the best player on the field, Tristan Lewis. I'm going to take Greenwood at home. I think the Eagles win, but should be a fun game. Love to see what Coach Watson will do defensively against this Eagles bunch, but I think Greenwood a little too much at home. I think Coach Liner gets a big win here. Jerel, comments from you or the chat on this 5-1, 5A matchup.
Yeah, a lot of chatter, so I'll be quick on this one. I like the Red Raiders here, and I like it because of the defense. I went back and looked at, what JL Mann was able to do. I know that was kind of wacky schedules. They were playing like 3 games in 12 days last year, but they held this. But that JL Mann team held this bunch to 14 points last year. So I think Coach Watson's going to have a good game plan for Tristan Lewis. Obviously, he's the X factor. He's the best player on the field, regardless of what's going on offer-wise and things like that with the other players. But I think the Red Raiders, their defense has played so much better. Obviously, they started off slow, but they say the biggest jump is from week 1 or week 0 to the next week. So I like the way the Red Raiders are playing. I'm gonna take this one in this game.
I'm going to say, Jerel, great research there. Great point there on JL. Man, I didn't think about that. I'm glad you did that research. Yeah. That was a great call there by you, checking back what Coach Watson did before with him. Zach says, Greenwood's Tristan Lewis, the X factor, and he thinks it won't be close at the BAB. Interesting.
Well, I think Greenville's better than Hillcrest, and that game was very close.
Travis says, Greenwood 38-35. John says, Eagles 28-24. Brandon's got Greenwood 31-27. Greenwood much improved. He'll take Greenwood. Patrick's taking Greenwood as well. Chris has Greenwood by 10. Courtney says I'm going with Greenville, beating Greenwood 24-21. I will say, I will say it feels like for Greenville to win this game, it needs to be kind of low scoring because I don't know what the Red Raiders are going to score in the 30s, 40s. You wouldn't think because they haven't really shown that this year a whole lot. So I'm thinking a low scoring game obviously helps them out. But I think Greenwood's a little bit too much, but should be a fun one on Friday at the BAB.
For sure. Let's go to the next one, guys.
Our fourth CONA game of the week, another big-time 5A matchup. John, we travel down to the coast for this one. James Island, undefeated James Island, 6-0, heading over to John McKissick Field, taking on the 5-1 Summerville Green Wave. Last year, Summerville won this game 26-0, blanking that Trojan bunch. James Island coming off a 49-7 victory over West Asheville last week, averaging 41 points per game on offense per year and only a 7 allowed on defense per game currently. Summerville 57-6 over Stahl, averaging 41 on offense, 15 allowed on defense. John, this game feels like two heavyweight hitters going at it here on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm excited about this game more than any game this week. This is really fun. You know, we know Summerville. We know they're really good. We know James Island is pretty good, but the trouble is we don't get to see James Island really until region play. And even with region play, it's a little hit and miss. Don't get to see them play a whole lot of really high level teams. And we get that this week. And we know it's obviously James Island there. Their calling card is their defense. Yep. It's been that way for the last few years. Summerville, good football team. I like the offense more than the defense for the Green Wave. Yeah. But you got that great match of a good defense, good offense going together. You know, being in Summerville helps. I feel like when I make these picks and I think about these games this week, I don't feel good about any of them. I'm probably less good about this one is any because I want to side with Summerville. I think they have more talent, or at least we know about the talent more so with Summerville than we do James Island. And of course, offensive guys are always going to get more praise than defensive guys. That's just the nature of the game, right? But I think we're going to see a really, really close ball game. I think Summerville wins a really close one, but I think it's low scoring. You know, I think, Summerville scored 26 last year. I don't think anyone scores 30 in this game either. But I think James Island does get on the board. I think they're going to be much more competitive. I can see this being a one-score game. And I'm not pulling for anyone against another team. I want to just see really, really, really good football games. But I would love to see James Island win a really big game like this. And this could, hey, you win Friday night over in Summerville, hey, there's nothing that can stop you now. Yeah. If they can win that, sky's the limit for this team. So that would be really exciting for that program if they could get the win. But I think Summerville's going to take it.
The Trojans, led by quarterback Connor Dancer, been playing really well lately. 13 for 26, 182, 3 touchdowns last week. Also ran for 63 and another touchdown. Running backs Ja'Kai Grant. Malachi Washington was out last week. Not sure if he's back or not for the Trojans. Could be a big piece there on Friday. Receivers, Raphael Pugh had a touchdown. Sam Crumpton had 2 touchdowns. Defensively, led by defensive lineman Sinclair Wright and DBs Deuce Prelo and Zamarius Gladden. Gladden had 2 picks in that win over West Asheville last week. Summerville, Quarterback Max Stafford is kind of taking that job there at the quarterback spot for the Green Wave. Played really well so far this season. Running back Javen Williams and Cam Grayson. Grayson last week went 10 for 140, 2 touchdowns. Receiver Jaden Kelly Murray, the landlord, 4 for 85, 2 touchdowns last week. Got Teru Davis as well out wide as a weapon. Defensively, you got Tyree Patton, JT Williams at linebacker, Josiah Taylor, Jacaden Pendergrass, Jordan Ravenel at DB. Should be a fantastic game, John. I talked to some folks who say this James Island team may be the best group that Coach McCoy has had since he's been there, which is saying something. They've had some really good teams the last couple of years. And I think, if you look at them, Summerville's one loss this year, South Florence. I think James Island is a comparable style to what South Florence wants to do. They want to run the football, be physical, play defense, beat you up front, which I think is what that Trojan bunch wants to do as well. So interesting to see the kind of the comparisons there between those groups as they head over to Summerville. Dantzler worries me a little bit. He had 3 picks last week for James Island. And if you throw it against Summerville, they will turn you over. Taylor can make plays. Pendergrass can make plays. You can't give the ball to the Green Wave. They're too explosive. So he's got to play safe football, take care of the football. I think the Trojans have a chance if he does that. A cool stat here, John. You're going to love this. So head coach Ian Rafferty for Summerville last week won his 50th game, moving to second all-time in Summerville history. He's now only 571 behind John McKissick, who has 621 in his career. So hats off to Coach Rafferty. I hope he makes it another 571. Would love to see that if he can get to that mark. But also for him to get to that 50 mark and become second all-time at Summerville, man, just really cool what he's done for that program, kind of rejuvenating that group there at Summerville. But I think with the weapons they have on offense, the explosiveness with Kelly Murray, Grayson, Stafford, Williams, Davis, I'm going to take Summerville at home. That home field advantage is a real deal. Crazy things happen there at John McKissick Field. I'm going to go with the Green Wave at home. This game was on the road in the backyard. Might change my pick, but I think at home, Summerville, too many weapons. But I do think you're right. We're thinking I could see 20-14, low-scoring game. But I think one more play out of Kelly Murray and those guys wins the football game for Summerville. But should be a fantastic matchup, one that I would love to go to. Don't think I'll quite make Summerville this week, but should be a great game. Jerel, what do you like in this one? What's the chat say? This feels like they're both top 5 in our poll. And I think, this feels like a top 5 matchup when you just talk about these two teams getting after it.
And I love both these teams. Love both of these programs. Would you say it was 571 to go to get to Coach McKissick?
Yep.
That would be 38 perfect 15-0 seasons. So no pressure there, Coach Rafferty.
Hey, they're on pace this year.
For sure. No, I like both of these programs a lot. I like both of these teams, all the players you mentioned. I think Summerville, obviously playing at home as well, I think they have more margin for error in this game. And that's why I want to pick the Green Wave to win this one. But I would not be surprised. This is a classic. Like you mentioned, South Florence, their style, a team that gave Summerville trouble. That's how James Island plays. If James Island can kind of muck it up, as I like to say, get into a defensive struggle, keep it close and, not let it get out of hand early on, they've got a shot here. But again, I think Summerville, they have so many weapons. It feels like, they can really challenge, for the state championship, legitimately this year. So I'm going with the Green Wave, but I would not be shocked at all if James Island's able to pull this one out.
And what if it rains Friday night?
Ooh,
it could.
Great
for sure.
You can get sloppy.
I like what you said there, Drill. I think a key for me for Summerville, you want to score early. You don't want to let them muck it up, and you don't want it to be 0-0 going into halftime. You want to have a couple touchdowns first quarter. Second, you want to put some points on the board early to kind of help that momentum for you. I think that's a key there, not letting it get mucked up too bad right away. At least
got Chris off the top rope right here. Here we go.
Summerville by 40 plus, says Chris. That would be a statement victory. That might be worth 3 or 4 for Coach Rafferty there if he gets that one. Zach says James Island can play defense. Summerville offense is a different breed. Certainly a lot of weapons there for that Green Wave group. Courtney says he's going to take James Island on the upset, 45-42.
Whoa. I don't think it's that. If they win, there's no way it's that high scoring.
If we get to that, it has to be 10 overtimes, I think.
Yeah. For sure.
Summerville 45-7. We got a prediction here. That's a big score as well. Ville by 14, says Terrence. Chris's home field advantage is wild in there. Certainly, crazy things happen down there at Summerville, man. They have a great atmosphere, great crowd. It's going to be fantastic again on Friday.
I think this is going to change, though. I think as Coach McCoy continues to raise the profile of James Allen, I think their non-region slate is going to get much improved over the years.
Yeah, and Chris, James Allen. What's that, John?
They played a really good Hilton Head team out of regional this year. Beat them up.
Big great collegiate too, as well, non-region. So certainly a couple nice wins early on. Terrence says, "What's up, guys? Hampton in the house. Good joining. Appreciate you joining us as well, Terrence." Summerville 28-21 says Jonathan.
That's all the score predictions we have on this one. Should be a lot of fun, man. This is going to be an exciting game. Outstanding there, and again, it gets to highlight more low country football. Really excited to see this.
If you're in the area, go check that one out. It should be a fantastic ball game. Our fifth CONA game of the week, our SCISA game of the week, John. Trinity Collegiate, 5-2, traveling to take on the red-hot 5-1 Wilson Hall Barons. Last year, Wilson Hall won 34-7 in this matchup. Trinity coming off a 48-8 victory over Camden Military. Senior quarterback Davidson Lynch has 14 touchdowns, 2 picks on the season. Running back Robert Mack. Receivers Copeland and Williams are both having big years for them. Defensively, Wilcox has 86 tackles, 23 TFLs this season. Cottingham, Mack, and Dameron, also big-time players. Dameron, 2 picks last week in that win over Camden Military. Wilson Hall, they avenged the state title loss. They took down Pinewood Prep 28-21 last week, averaging 35 on offense, 15 out on defense. We mentioned it a couple weeks back. Ford Wilder, the great receiver, has moved to quarterback this year. They've got multiple backs, Millen Galloway, Ben McLaurin, Cam Wilsey. Defensively, McLaurin, Dinkins, Wilsey, Jones, and Gilly, and Matthew Beamer as well, lead coach Jarecki's bunch there. The worry for Wilson Hall, I think the Barons is a better football team here, John. I feel like they are, but is it a potential letdown spot? You kind of slay that dragon, a Pinewood team that's kind of had your number lately. You've lost a state title game a couple years in a row. You beat Pinewood last week. Tough spot for the Barons to get up again, it feels like, back-to-back weeks.
It is, but you know what? It's still a region game.
Yeah.
And it's still a good team that's going to get your attention. And, maybe Monday was tough, getting back into the routine. But come Friday night, once toe meets leather, I think they'll be ready. And they're a good football team. It's not like they went out and this was some massive upset over Pinewood that nobody saw coming. I'm sure they went into that week going, hey, we can beat these guys. Let's go out and actually do it. I think Wilson Hall wins this game. And I think there's a better chance of Wilson Hall running away with it than Trinity winning the game.
You look at Trinity and their schedule. There are 2 losses. They lost to PD Academy and Pinewood Prep. Wilson Hall is better than both those teams. And you couple that with a tough offense to prepare for, what Coach Jarecki brings there with that kind of, misdirection, really run-heavy game plan there. I think Wilson Hall wins this game. I think there's a chance, too, like you said, I think it might get out of hand. I like this Trinity bunch. They're doing a good job with first-year head coach there, Coach Fagan. But I think Wilson Hall a little too much, a little deeper right now. I like the Barons to continue their winning ways and move to 6-1 in this Big 3A matchup. Jerel, who do you like in this one? Does the chat have any picks as well in this SCISA matchup?
No picks yet, but, man, it's the same thing for me. I'm going to keep riding that hot hand. I think Wilson Hall continues to play well. Obviously, that running attack has been fantastic. I like them to win here. And like you said, Trinity, much improved, having a great season. But I think Wilson Hall, man, it just seems like they're really, really hitting their stride here down the stretch.
Yeah, certainly are. And just happy for that group. Like I said, I know that win last week meant a lot to them after having not the best success against the Panthers, but to get that victory, kind of slay that dragon, I think is a big key for Coach Jarecki's bunch. But yeah, Jerel, let's shout out some friends of the program. Then guys, we'll take a look at the rest of the statewide slate, break down all the action from 5A down to SCISA when we come back.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
With 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville, Carolina Orthopaedic and Neurosurgical Associates, CONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. Go to CONA.care to learn more.
All right, John, let's take a look at the statewide slate. Starting in 5A, and I believe, John, we have a Thursday game in there as well, do we not?
We've got a handful, actually. A couple big names going to be playing on Thursday night. We've got South Florence. They'll travel to Lakewood. Aiken is going to host Brooklyn Casey. Wilson is on the road against Lower Richland. Good game there. And South Point will host York.
Perfect. Well, let's look at the rest of the 5A slate on Friday now.
Once we get to Friday, we've got 13 more ball games. Gray will travel to Airport.
Is that 4A? I think you're in 4A currently, I think.
We are.
All good. Move back up to 5A.
All right, here we go. Now we're back. So that was 4A before.
Okay.
The 5A game for Thursday night would be Spring Valley hosting Westwood. Not really sure why Spring Valley's playing Thursday night at home. But that's the schedule. Down in the Low Country, we got RB Stall hosting Ashley Ridge. West Ashley will be at home against Fort Dorchester. Carolina Forest hosting St. James. Myrtle Beach travels to Conway.
A good rivalry game here. I believe it's, I don't want to get this wrong. I think it's Battle for the Victory Bell. Does that sound right? Somebody in the chat, correct me here. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called there. Conway, a nice win last week over North Myrtle Beach. Didn't see that one coming really. Myrtle Beach played good football this year. I think that the Seahawks a little more talented right now. Probably should win this football game, but a great rivalry. Going to be great down there over at Conway as well on Friday.
Yeah, good win for Conway last week. I like Myrtle Beach in this one, though. Catawba Ridge hosting Indian Land. It's a good Indian Land team. I saw them play. They're 6-0 still, and they have got a dynamite running back. Young man named Horton, I believe. That kid can fly. He's a no-nonsense running back. That guy gets the hole quick, and he gets through it quick.
Going to be some great athletes on the field, too. Josh Dobson there at Catawba Ridge. You got Sequel Patterson, the South Carolina commit at Indian Land. It's going to be fun to see those guys kind of go at it on probably both sides of the ball. They both play both ways a little bit there. Going to be a lot of fun to follow that one. Yeah, Jamal Horton, the running back's name. Last week, John, 29 for 290, 2 touchdowns in that win over Nation Ford. Certainly getting it done there for the Warriors. A team that, just keeps winning. We'll see how good they are when they get, in a little deeper in region play, but they have looked the part so far of a big-time contender. Yeah,
they'll be tough for everybody. One of our CONA games of the week, we've got Greenwood hosting Greenville. TL Hanna is at home against Woodmont. Lexington hosting Chapin. Dorman will travel to Spartanburg.
A game that Spartanburg kind of has to win to have a chance, in that region. Dorman undefeated in region play. Spartanburg has already lost to Gaffney. Has 1 L. They can't afford to take 2. But I think the way Dorman's playing, man, it's going to be tough to beat those guys. I think Coach Morse's bunch wins again.
I think so, too. Spartanburg, they're going to play some good defense. You're going to have to earn against them. But Dorman, really, really impressed with this Dorman squad so far this year. They've really played well, and they've really taken a step forward.
Yeah.
Goose Creek, they're at home against Berkeley. Cane Bay hosting Wando. Big time game here. Burns, always a big game. Burns traveling to the reservation to take on Gaffney. Gaffney finding their footing now.
Yep.
It's a really good team in their own right.
Yeah. Burns, a couple tough losses, Irmo and Dorman, 2 really good football teams. Gaffney seems to be playing better and better the last couple of weeks. They did have a bit of a scare last week, and I think we called it out on the pregame or the pre-show last week that the east side is better. Can't take them lightly. Gaffney gets by, wins by, less than a score. They have a big win for the Indians. I think a key for me is, can Banks, Boughton, Gaffney get the passing game going? Like, we know he can run the football with his legs. He's really good running the football, and that has caused Burns some trouble this year with quarterbacks who are kind of mobile there. But he's going to have to hit some of those receivers. I don't think you can rely on just him and the running backs to win this football game. Got to get the pass game going at the reservation. Burns, we know they got plenty of weapons with Segura and Harris out wide. They will put up points as well. I think a tight matchup, as always, it feels like this one is. But I like Gaffney at home. I mean, how do you pick against the guys at the reservation? It's hard to do. So I like Gaffney at home. I think Boughton has a better game this week than what he's had the past few weeks. I like the Indians to win this one in a tight showdown.
I like Burns. I think Burns is going to pull the upset. I like the talent at Burns this year a little bit more than what Gaffney has got. I think if Burns playmakers, if they show up, and as Dab would say, if the dudes are dudes, I like Burns to win the game.
I wanted to ask you guys, who do you think this game is more important for this season? Like, because I feel like this is a huge pivotal game for both of these teams. Who do you think it's more important for?
Gaffney.
I mean, it's tough. If you look at just like, region standings, it's Burns because they've got a loss already. But as far as finding out what they have for a potential deep run, it's probably Gaffney. Like, I think they're still somewhat unknown almost because they've had so many changes here lately. Obviously they got the quarterback spot figured out now. They've got that, but I feel like we still don't know how good they can be, if that makes sense. So I think from that perspective, it's Gaffney. But as far as if you want to win the region, I think Burns is the team that's got to have this football game. Because you look at it right now, Dorman and Gaffney, both undefeated in region play. Spartanburg and Burns already have one loss each. So they both need to win these football games on Friday.
Yeah, wanted to stop you. Got a lot of chatter on this game as well, so I like it.
Zach says, give me the Rebs. Gatcham's talking too much. Rebs are on the reservation and win by 3 touchdowns. Wow, that would put the state
Zach's
on notice there. Travis also taking Burns 28-24. Justin's got Burns big, 35-14. Chris is, Gatcham get the pass attack going early. It could be interesting, but if we can't, we can run it with peanut butter and jelly. Peanut Kirby and Josiah Hill. I agree, Chris. Got to get that pass attack going. Need Banks to step up a little bit there. Patrick said will be a good game. Certainly will be. I feel like these guys always play great matchups. I want to say last year might have been an overtime game, I believe, when they got after it. Chris says bigger game for Gaffney because they win that place during 2 weeks for the region title. Yeah, that would set you guys up for, like you said, region title there.
Interesting. Just wanted to get your guys' opinion. This is a big game. I think it's very, very vital. Obviously, every game in Region 2 there in 5A is big, but I think this one's extra special this year. And I think these are two teams that are like not to the level of play that we're accustomed to seeing them at. And it's one of those things too with Burns. It's like they've got all the stars, but it's like they haven't put it all together. Like, will they do that? It's getting late in the season to kind of still be kind of trying to figure that one out.
That's a good point. Staying in the upstate, Hillcrest will be at home against JL Man. Boiling Springs hosting Wade Hampton. We talked about Marconi games of the week. Big time game in the Low Country. James Island traveling to Summerville. Socastee at home against North Myrtle Beach. Blythewood hosting West Florence. Fort Mill, a much improved Fort Mill squad. They'll travel and play Northwestern on Friday night. Nation Ford at home against Rock Hill. A Nation Ford team I was pretty impressed with. They're a good group to be a 3-3 team. Rock Hill in their own right. I think a pretty good team, even with that 4-3 record. Should be a good ball game here, too.
Another game that could have a lot of points as well. Two teams that want to light it up for Coach Bullware and Coach Bentley there. And I do want to circle back Northwestern Fort Mill. We've talked about that Fort Mill defense all year. They will be tested on Friday. We'll find out just how good they are because Northwestern can score on anybody, it feels like. So we'll see what they've got. I don't think Fort Mill's quite on that Trojans level this year, but they could cause some problems early on with what they can do defensively over Coach McNeely.
Riverside will be at home against Eastside. Stratford travels to Lucy Beckham, a Lucy Beckham team that really we're not talking about. They're 4-1.
Yeah, a Lucy Beckham team that kind of, lulls you to sleep with kind of a slow-paced offense. All of a sudden, they kind of pop one on you, and they're gone. But we know they're going to play great defense, Coach Smith. They always do. A Stratford team that I saw last week looked really impressive. A comeback win over Berkeley. They've got tons of playmakers. Jakin Davis, a quarterback, a Liberty commit. He's a great player, a Shrine Bowl. They got Malik McGowan, stud running back for them. JQ Crosby out wide. A lot of good pieces there for that Stratford team. Coach McDaniel's doing a great job there. Appreciate them having me out there. Enjoyed meeting a lot of folks. Coach Burnett. I had an awesome time down there at the Castle. Sorry, as they call it there. It was a great matchup there. And then go ahead.
You're talking about picks earlier. Who'd you pick? That Stratford.
I think I picked the wrong team in that one. I missed that one for sure. But Stratford certainly looked the part, man. A great football game. A great football team. I think they go on the road and win this game, essentially lock up the region probably with this win, it feels like.
Going back to the Midlands, Lugoff Elgin will be hosting Ridgeview. We've got River Bluff at home against Irmo. and Malden will be hosting Easley. One more game, big game. White Knoll hosting Dutch Fork.
Yes. A White Knoll team that has continued to get better and better. Their one loss way back at the end of the season, have played great since then. Dutch Fork, they've shown some shakiness this year. You obviously lose the game at Oceanside. You play a tight one against Ridgeview. I don't know. I will say one thing. Dutch Fork remembers the fact that they lost there 2 years ago. That's going to be a key point to them. Like, they want to go avenge that road loss to the White Knoll team from 2 years ago. White Knoll is good. I don't think they're quite Silver Fox is good right now. Love Coach Pelham, does a great job there. I don't know if they've got quite enough firepower to beat Dutch Fork. But I'm thinking close football game, maybe a 10-point game. But I like Dutch Fork. I think close in this one. I think they get the games going. Knott's at quarterback. All the defensive line guys with Worth and Walker, offensive line with Lorenzo. I think Dutch Fork wins this football game.
I think so too. I think it's still a ball game once we get into the fourth quarter, but I think Dutch Fork will. I like that pick, maybe a 10-point game.
Yeah. I do want to, one more, go ahead, Drew. Do you want to hop in on that one or a different game?
No. I was just going to keep the show rolling. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Ridgeview Lugoff Elgin. Like, I know sometimes, John, like, we joke about the Demons, like, because you're, a guy, but they're not bad. Like, they're a good football team. They can score points. In Ridgeview, we know they've got athletes. We know they can play defense. I think there's a chance that Lugoff Elgin can hang around in this football game just because what they can do offensively with Sadiq and Richardson, one of our players of the week. They can put up points. And I think if you score a little bit early on Ridgeview, maybe things get shaky for there, and maybe they could, hang around for a full four-quarter game.
Yeah, I think the offense has really come alive the last couple of weeks. Yeah. Really strong showing against Sumter 2 weeks ago in a loss, but they put up 42 points. And then a really good performance against a really evenly matched Blythewood team last week. I think the offense is good enough to compete in this game, but Ridgeview is just, and I haven't seen Lugoff Elgin play yet this year. I saw Ridgeview play. Ridgeview's got so much talent. They've got so much athleticism. A
lot of speed.
On the outside defensively, they're great tackling. Quarterback play, even though he's the second string quarterback, he's a really good quarterback as well. Ridgeview's going to win this game unless they turn the ball over half a dozen times, make a bunch of penalties. They're going to win this game. But this is a much improved Demon team. They are the exciting group to follow last few weeks and really all year. Very promising year for them.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on 5A before we look down at the next class.
No, man, it's cool to see. Glad to see John smiling, talking about his alma mater there in football. That's fantastic. I think we've done enough for Coach Littlejohn there. Drop that tag. I think he's really produced this year. So really excited for him. Obviously, Coach Bowler being there looks like he laid a really good foundation. So excited to see about how that program has progressed through the season. But let's go to 4A, guys.
Let's take a look at the 4A slate now, John.
Yeah, we already touched on the Thursday night games in 4A, so we'll flip the script back to Friday. We talked about Airport hosting Gray, Southside at home against Lawrence. Both of these teams looking for their first win of the year. I like Lawrence in that game. Greer will travel to Blue Ridge. Midland Valley is at home against Gilbert. Fountain Inn will travel to Wren.
That one's exciting to me there. I think both these teams have a lot of really good athletes. Wren seemed to be growing up on offense. That was the worry going into the year. I knew they had a really good defense, had a bunch of young pieces on offense. I feel like the quarterback's playing better. Caden Hill, receivers playing better. Muntu Brown has done a great job running the football there for Coach Freight. Fountain Inn with Holiday and those guys, Flood and whatnot, have tons of firepower as well. I think this is a sneaky good game on Friday. I think Wren at home, tough place to play. I think they win this game, but that should be a fun one if you're in the area to check out.
Yeah, and two pretty good football teams too. May River at home against Bishop England. Two pretty good football teams here as well.
Bishop England coming off that tough loss to Hilton Head Island. Did not see, I thought they might lose the game. Didn't think they get blown out like they did. So that was a surprise to me. We'll see two varying styles with May River wanting to run the football a ton. Bishop England want to swing it around a little bit more. Should be a fun matchup down on the coast.
Beaufort is at home against Colleton County. Seneca will travel to Berea. Hartsville at home against Crestwood. Westside will host Emerald.
This is the game here, I think, that will tell us Is West Side back? I don't mean back to like the level of last year, but like, are they a legit, playoff team, can make a run this year against Emerald? Because like they've got a couple, wins the last couple of weeks against lesser competition. It feels like obviously Abbeville's good, but they're a smaller school. But I think if they can beat what we think is a solid enough Emerald team, then we got to start taking West Side seriously again. I think if they win this football game.
And I think, maybe I'm wrong here, but until this year, we really haven't talked much about Emerald. I think if this is a big confidence boost for Emerald if they can win this game too. Yeah, West Side is down, but to go to Anderson and win that game would be a really, really big deal for them. And that would, I think that would do a lot for that program too.
Yep.
Travelers Rest hosting Daniel on Friday.
I got a stat here for you. Daniel going for win number 600. This is their 71st season, John. They average 8.3 wins per season, second only to Summerville in win percentage with a minimum of 300 games. So, Jerel, your Devil Dogs have a chance to stop history on Friday. I know it didn't go so well with your bet with Nathan last year. What do you like here, Daniel TR, this week?
I like to go ahead and put that in ink. 600 coming up for Daniel. Good for them. Everybody gets to play a game. Zach's mentioned my Devil. I love my Devil Dogs. We just don't win much in football, so it's cool. Great colors, great mascot. Just don't get it done. Basketball is around the corner, but good stat there. Great.
In the Midlands, Richland Northeast, boy, life after Will Wilson?
Yeah,
it is a lot different. They'll be hosting a really good AC floor team. And then closing out 4A, Dreer hosting Lancaster.
Any comments from you or the chat on 4A, Jerel?
TR has 2 wins this year.
Let's go. Let's see what we got here.
Leo says, go Powdersville. Big game this week, Leo. If you missed the start of the show, we broke down Powdersville Christ Church. Talked about that one early on. Dion says 23-14 Emerald over West Side. Jonathan says Red Fox a 2-game winning streak. Yeah, Hartsville playing better. Ford Wallace, I believe, broke the passing yards in a game record for Hartsville last week. So they're getting better and better for Coach Calabrese there. Dion's got Midland Valley by 14. I think they win as well. I think it's a good pick there. Brandon's got Lawrence over Southside 14-7. A real pillow fight, sounds like there.
Let's go to 3A, guys.
Let's look down at 3A now, John.
Travelers Rest also beat 5A school Wade Hampton. So
talk to him, Rel.
Now looking at 3A, all games on Friday for 3A. Walhalla will be hosting Pendleton. One of our CONA games of the week, Powdersville hosting Christ Church. Broome travels to Union. Marlboro County be hosting Georgetown.
A Marlboro County team that is kind of laying in the weeds right now, John. They were the talk of the state for a while last year, and this year they're playing good football. 5-1, the one loss just to Gray Collegiate. They've got big matchups with Dillon and Loris around the corner. I think Coach Johnson's bunch is the real deal. They're a team to keep an eye on here as we roll into region play.
Yeah, and flying under the radar a little bit this year is probably exactly what they needed after last year. Mountain View will be hosting Chapman. Loris, coming off that massive win over in Dillon last week, they'll host a pretty good Walk-em-all team this week, 5-1 Walk-em-all group. They'll still like Loris in this game, though. That's a really, really good football team.
A super impressive win for them. Going on the road anytime you win at Dillon is really hard fought and well earned for sure. I know they didn't play their cleanest game. I don't think Dillon did either, really. But they've got a great defense and a great offense. Coach Manson's done a fantastic job there. Potential letdown spot here for Loris against Walk-em-all. I don't think Walk-em-all is as good as what we had thought. I know they got a good record here. Their one loss to Carver's Bay early on in the year. I don't think they're quite the level we thought they would be. I think Loris wins this game, pretty handily, but excited to see that team continue to roll.
Did Loris hold Dillon? Was it 1 yard in the second
I've
half?
seen 2 stats. One stat I saw said Loris held Dillon to 1 total yard in the second half. The other stat I saw said 7 total yards second half. So either way, it's really impressive.
Under 10. Not a
crazy.
first down.
Yeah. Won the game with a big fumble return for a touchdown. That was the game-winning score as well for the Lions. So certainly played great on defense against a high-powered Wildcats offense.
Another team that played tough last week, did not get the win, though, is Silver Bluff. They'll host Keenan Friday.
I do believe quarterback Cam McMillan will probably be on the field for Keenan this Friday. The transfer from South Point, I believe he will be able to play. I don't know if he'll start. I don't know how much he'll play, but I think he can get out there for the Raiders. Silver Bluff's a team that has been kind of hard to figure out. Played Newberry really tight last week, but we'll see how that game goes. A really key region matchup there with those two getting together.
Yeah, loser could be looking not good look to be in the playoffs
for sure.
Loser Friday. North Charleston hosting Oceanside. Crescent will be on the road against West Oak. Palmetto hosting Southside Christian. Newberry travels to Fox Creek. Sneaky good game here. Good Fox Creek team. Lost to Orangeburg Wilkinson.
And I was going to say, Fox Creek probably played O-Dub a little closer than I thought they would. Honestly, it was a tight ball. I think it was a one-score football game, I believe, last week. I want to say like 24-17, something like that. Guys, are we worried about Newberry at all after that game last week? Kind of an odd,
I am a little bit.
A late
if
comeback.
It happens 2 weeks in a row, if they lose this Friday, yeah, it's time to worry. If they go out and they win by 2 scores, I think we're okay.
I think somebody mentioned they had a quarterback. I think the quarterback only played one half for Newberry, something like
interesting.
that.
Okay, so to clarify, Orangeburg Wilkinson defeated Fox Creek 21-13, so it was a one-score game. Newberry defeated Silver Bluff 22-19. Tight game there, and that's with Newberry scoring 15 points in the fourth quarter to win that game. So not sure what happened there. I've not heard about injuries or whatnot. I don't know how that shakes out. Newberry quarterback didn't play first half. Okay, so Caldwell came in second half and then won. Interesting there, Dion. So it makes you feel a little bit better about Newberry there. That was kind of an odd score line to follow on Friday.
It sounds like a discipline issue, though, and you can't have that against big-time competition or once you get into the playoffs. Moving on, we've got Hanahan hosting that undefeated Orangeburg Wilkinson team. St. Joseph's will be hosting Carolina High. And then Ainer welcoming in a very mad Dillon group to close out.
Yeah, I think that one might get out of hand there. Ainer has given Dillon some problems in the past over the years, but I think Dillon, they're going to be quite upset. I think they might win this game by a big score.
Yeah, and that's this year's Ainer team is not quite to the level of those Ainer teams that have given Dillon some fits.
Any comments from you or the chat? Jerel on 3A. Just said, did Loris win that game last year? Yes, Loris won that game at home last year. And I think it was a 5-point game, John, like 35-30.
Yeah, it
sounds
was
right.
Relatively high scoring. I was at that game, a little bit sloppy for Dillon, but Loris looked awesome. One of the best high school regular season environments I've ever been a part of. It was a great experience.
Courtney says Big Bears and Crescent next Friday, the championship. Yeah, Crescent's been a good squad this year. I think Belton Honeypath a little better. They should win that football game. It should be fun. Zach says trap game for Loris to big win at Dillon. Certainly could be. And I think, traveling on the road as well doesn't help. But I think the fact that this group had some success last year probably helps them out a little bit because they're kind of used to winning some of these games a little bit. So I think they win easily again, but certainly not a spot you can take lightly there with Walkmall. Chris says, can OW be legit this year? I think so. The problem for them is that Lower State 3A is really good. I love what they do with Haltwanger and Avenger and all that crew there for Coach Carter. They've got some really talented players on both sides of the football. They're in the Oceanside Collegiate region for one, which will be tough there. And then obviously you got teams like Dillon, Loris, Newberry coming to town as well in 3A in the playoffs. Should be fun. Zach says, wrong time for Andrew playing Dillon. Yeah, I feel bad for the Blue Jackets on this one. Zach just did the same thing there for sure. Hate that for that group.
Let's keep it rolling, guys.
All right. Shout out to friends of the program, Jerel. It will move down to 2A, 1A, and SCISA.
Schedule your sewer drain clearing with Preferred Home Services today. If we can't clear it, it's free.
Electrical, plumbing, cooling too.
Go, 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 Preferred.
Looking for top-notch sports gear and uniforms? Look no further than First Team Sports. With 30 years of serving the Carolinas, First Team Sports is your local full-service dealer. From youth teams to colleges, we've got you covered with team uniforms, staff apparel, letterman jackets, sports equipment, and facility branding. Visit our local store in Greenville or firstteamsc.com. Make First Team your first.
Founders Federal Credit Union means banking made for you. The on-the-go, the pick-up-and-go, and the I want to go. Because at Founders, we give you the financial tools that make every dollar work for you. For the little things to the big things. For your future and your peace of mind. We'll always stay grounded in our roots, but reaching beyond what you'd expect is where we'll always go. Find out what our members already know and enjoy a new way to bank. Relax, you're with Founders.
Let's take a look at the 2A slate now, John.
We'll start with Edisto at home against Whale Branch. A Whale Branch team that I don't know what happened to them this year. Usually a good program, struggling so far this year. Lake Marion, they'll be at home against Hampton County. Philip Simmons will travel to Burke.
I think Philip Simmons kind of flying under the radar a little bit, by the way, for Coach Benning there. I know they're starting a bunch of young guys up front. I think they're continuing to get better and better. The Iron Star, Ashton Kellerman, a big week for them last week. They're playing good football. They're a team to look out for in Lower State 2A because we'll talk about it here in a little bit, guys, in the polls, but Lower State 2A, I think, is wide open. I think there's not a lot of great football teams down there, it seems like right now. Terrence has got Hampton County by 21 over Lake Marion. That sounds about right. I think so. Terrence, I think that's a good pick.
We've got Chester hosting Fairfield Central. Andrew Jackson coming off that big win against Jerel last week. They'll host Chesterfield. 96 is at home against Batesburg-Leesville.
And even though they lost last week, John, I was really happy to see what we got out of the Panthers. The Batesburg-Leesville team played really tough against Strong Thurman. I think they had a 14-0 lead, kind of gave that up late, but I was really pleased to see them put together such a great performance. A team that we were kind of worried about a little bit, had not played their best lately. They got Katie Witt going. They got Savvy Wooden going. I like Coach Lawson's bunch. Just might light a fire into them into making a deep run of the playoffs. Should be a fun team to follow. Dion says, got to get Katie with the ball more. Yeah, he's explosive. And that's why we talked about it preseason way back in the 2A preview show. Maybe you do some Wildcat. I don't know what you do, but yeah, he's got to touch the ball more. And obviously know what you got with Wooden as well. But he is a great playmaker there. Should be a great team to follow the last few weeks of the season.
Yeah, I echo that 100%. Get with the ball as much as he can take it. Landrum will be at home against Blacksburg. Strom Thurmond hosting American Leadership. Kingstree is at home against East Clarendon. Andrews will travel to Woodland. Chesney is at home against Clinton. We talked about that a little bit earlier. That'll be a good game. I think Clinton wins that game. They're a pretty good group, as they have been last few years. But Chesney, good team this year too.
Yeah, Coach Chappell's doing a great job there. The Blanton kid out wide is a great player for them. But I think the winner of this wins the region, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, obviously not guaranteed, but they was certainly in the driver's seat. I think it's Clinton, too much firepower. They're playing better and better, man. A team that had to kind of find their footing, has some new pieces to plug in here and there. They're getting better and better for Coach Fountain in there. I think they win this game, a couple scores, I feel like, at least.
Lake City is at home against Atlantic Collegiate. Manning travels to Mullins. Timberland, a team that I'm really high on. They've got my attention lately. They'll travel to Academic Magnet.
I mean, that Timberland team, John, 5-1. They beat a good Cross team. Their one loss to Hanahan, a bigger school. But they beat Lee Central, who's solid, Lake City, who's solid, Cross, Kingstree. They've got some good wins down there that the Wolves do. I think they're a team to keep an eye on for sure. Yeah, and I mean, that Cross win, I know Cross is 1A, but that's a big win. That's a big win to win that game against those guys because we know how good they are. Saluda is at home against Pelion. I do want a stat here for Pelion. Coach Helms has come in. Last week, the Panthers, school record 602 total yards. Awesome to see what he's done there. A team that has not had a lot of success lately, is sitting at 4-2 right now, playing good football. I think Saluda a little more talented this year. I think the Tigers win, but they're another team that has been kind of up and down too. So certainly could go the other way, but I think Saluda wins this football game.
Even if Pelion loses this game, they've made good strides as a program, and they still got a lot of football left in front of them and can make maybe make a little noise in the playoffs too. And then we wrap up with Mid-Carolina hosting Columbia.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on 2A. When does Central play AJ? That might be the last week of the season. I can't remember off my head.
I think it's next week.
Oh, is it next week? Okay. I know Chesterfield and Jerel in the season against each other. So I know there's obviously North Central, and AJ left.
And another question would be, where is that game? If it's over in, I think they call it Bone Town over in Kershaw, that's a tough place to win. I've seen Lugoff lose some games over there.
I think it's at AJ.
Give me a second. Great comment they're doing. Yeah, Dion, the Pillion offense is explosive. They got a good team there. Let's see. We've got, next week, Central at Andrew Jackson. Potential game of the week there. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that one in depth for sure. Let's keep going, guys.
Let's look down to the 1A ranks now, John.
A Branchville team that's just had some tough breaks this year. They host Baptist Hill.
A young group. I want to say I saw somewhere they're only playing 4 upperclassmen, which is really tough, obviously, especially for a 1A program like that. Young group there. I think they'll be fine in the next year, too. This year's going to be a little bit of a struggle, it feels like.
Great Falls hosting Lamar. Blackville Hilda will travel to Wagner Sally. Hunter Kenner Tyler at home against Calhoun County.
Decay bounced back after a tough week 2 weeks ago. They had a nice win, put up a ton of points last week.
Abbeville is at home against Calhoun Falls. McCormick hosting Ware Shoals, still undefeated at Ware Shoals.
Yeah, a team that we've been trying to bring them up more and more. We've been trying to, they got Dixie next week. That'll show us a lot, and obviously Abbeville into the season as well. We'll find out these next couple of weeks. We got Dixie, Calhoun Falls, and Abbeville, 3 solid teams that they have to match up against to close the season.
Bethune-Bowman is at home against St. John's. Denmark-Olar travels to Hardyville. Green Sea Floyd's on the road against Hannah Pamplico. Lakeview hosting Carvers Bay. Good game here, fun game. Carvers Bay, boy, they really, really were impressive against Latta last week. And it gets no easier this week having to travel to Lakeview.
Yeah, should have just got a hotel over in Dillon County and spent the week down there. I guess the Bears should have. They're going to go back from Latta over to Lakeview now. This is a letdown spot here. I think it probably helps that they're playing Lakeview, a team that everybody knows is a contender year in, year out. That probably helps you get back up, obviously, there. Carvers Bay, super impressive. A big win over a pretty good Latta team, we feel like, 33-0 last week. They really ran the ball well. Hayward had a big game on the ground for them. Coach Richard's bunch is playing great. Lakeview, probably not quite as good as some of the better teams they've had, it feels like, but still a solid bunch, of course, over there. Tough place to play. Carvers Bay should go on the road and win this game, it feels like.
I think so. And one really cool thing I want to bring up, I had the TV on during work today and had NFL Network on there talking to Darius Leonard, big-time Colt, SC State guy, and he had his Lakeview shirt on. And, they asked him on NFL Network, they said, hey, tell us about your high school team, Lakeview, what they got going on this week. And he talked about for a couple, a minute or so. He talked about, we got Carvers Bay. It's a really big game this week. Talked up Carvers Bay a little bit. But that was really cool to see on the NFL Network talking about 1A high school football in South Carolina. That was really, really cool.
That is awesome, man. I want to say I think Darius is actually helping out a little bit with Lakeview right now. So
they said he was on staff. Yeah,
sure, he's got some great insight for sure.
And hey, that's fun for the kids too to have that kind of guy on the field with you on the practice field. Whitmire, they'll travel to Dixie. We talked about that Dixie team, pretty good club there. Mm-hmm. Ridgeland is at home against Allendale Fairfax. Rich Spring Minetta travels to Williston Elko. C.A. Johnson is on the road against McBee. Military Magnet will host Clear Dot Charter. Louisville at home against Lee Central. And our 1A CONA game of the week, Cross hosting Scotts Branch.
Jerel, comments from you in the chat on the 1A slate. Dion says Bamberg, A-Town on the collision course for state. I think so as well. Don't sleep on Cross, though. Obviously, they lower state champs last year. Certainly will be there as well. It's A-Town and Bamberg, says Zach, then Cross everyone else. Yeah, I think those 3, and don't sleep on Carvers Bay as well. Another team that has looked really impressive, beat some bigger schools. We'll see just how good they are down the stretch, but I think lower state 1A is a lot more loaded than the upper state right now for sure.
Let's jump into the SCISA ranks, guys.
Let's look at the SCISA slate now, John, for week 7.
Yeah, we got one game on Thursday. Hammond will travel to Augusta Christian. Should be pretty light work for Hammond in that game. And then flipping over to Friday, we've got Hilton Head Prep hosting John Paul II. Dorchester Academy is at home against Clarendon Hall. Newberry Academy travels to Wardlaw. Ben Lippen hosting Heathwood Hall. Lee Academy will travel to Williamsburg. Cross Academy is visiting Cathedral Academy. King Academy at home against Richard Wynn.
A 7-0 King Academy team. This is a good test for them. Richard Wynn's always a solid 8-man program. They're going on the road to King. I think King is a better football team, but certainly a good matchup here on Friday.
And Cardinal Newman will be at home against Lawrence Manning. Camden Military hosting Florence Christian. PD Academy hosting St. John's Christian. Patrick Henry will be on the road against Colleton Prep. Thomas Hayward hosting Andrew Jackson Academy.
Thomas Hayward got their first win of the season last week, a team that, won the state title in 1A last season. A lot of good pieces still. Josh Gibson, Tony O'Banner there for Coach Malfish's bunch. I think they're a team that could get hot down the stretch here. Maybe you can kind of see that first one go through the hoop, kind of one of those type deals. So I think they win again this week and get their second win of the season.
And they got enough football left to go to get it right.
Yep.
Spartanburg Christian will be at home against Towns County. Wilson Hall at home against Trinity Collegiate. That's our SCISA CONA game of the week there. Greenwood Christian travels to Thomas Sumter Academy.
A sneaky good matchup there. Thomas Sumter team that had all kinds of problems last year, playing good football this year, got 4 wins already. Greenwood Christian, a team that I like a lot. Tough to get a great feel for them because they're so far away from a lot of SCISA schools. They play a lot of high school league guys. They performed very well. Got some nice wins already this year. They beat an Eau Claire team, a Whitmire team. Calhoun Falls Charter beat them as well. I think Greenwood Christian wins this game. That's a sneaky good matchup here in the SCISA ranks.
Let's see, Porter Goud hosting Northwood Academy.
Porter Goud, for Coach Neighbors, really good defense. Intrigued to see what they've got from Northwood. We know Northwood, a big win over Hammond 2 weeks ago. They've got lots of firepower on offense. Can the Cyclones slow that group down any over there the Chargers have?
Then we'll see Lawrence Academy hosting Christian Academy. Palmetto Christian at home against Jefferson Davis. Orangeburg Prep will travel to Northside Christian. Hilton Head Christian hosting First Baptist. Kings Academy at home against Holly Hill.
Kings Academy, much improved, playing good football this year, got 4 wins already this year. But Holly Hill, just another level. I don't think Kings is ready for that quite. I think the Raiders roll big as they tend to do a lot of weeks here, it feels like.
Bethesda, 5-0 Bethesda travels to Dillon Christian. And then Calhoun Academy at home against Carolina Academy.
Jerel, comments from you or the chat on the SCISA slate. Mandy says, go Knights. I don't know which ones. Maybe WW
I don't
King.
either.
Sorry.
I just wanted to give her a shout out. Thanks, Mandy, for watching.
I'm going to guess WW King. 7-0. They're playing great football right now. Thank you, Mandy, for tuning in and shouting out your group there. Love what that group is doing. They've been a lot of fun to follow. Coach Matthews doing a fantastic job there down in the Batesburg area.
Yep, she confirmed it. King. Thanks,
Perfect.
Mandy.
There we go. Well, any other shout-outs, Jerel, before we get some shout-outs to friends of the program here?
Let's talk to these friends of the program.
Let's do it.
Everyday life means everyday expenses. Spend smarter with a Founders Federal Credit Union credit card, offering you low rates and big rewards where it matters most. Enjoy all the benefits of saving while using your Founders Essential MasterCard. Make every swipe and tap count with smart rates, big rewards on select cards, and no balance transfer or annual fees. Because your money should go where you want it to. That's the power of Founders Federal Credit Union. Apply today at foundersfcu.com. Relax. You're with Founders.
The George Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgeagency.net. That's thegeorgeagency.net. Our Pick'em contest brought to you by Hannah Engineering. Every week we do 11 games across the state. You join, you pick them all. We show your winners. We do a season-long winner. We drop your lowest week. We still do some pop-up prizes as well. But, Jerel, let's show our Week 6 leaders. We had Brad with a perfect 11 spot. Great for Brad there. Some 10s from Richard, Peyton, Reese, Ryan, and Chandler. lots of 9s as well. Jerron and I had 9, Jerel with 8. Overall, a pretty high-scoring week there, guys. A lot of things, I guess, stayed kind of true to form as we thought back in week 6. And now our overall leader, we got Ryan W. at 50, tied for second, Richard and Andrew at 50. Oh, sorry, Ryan W. I believe is at 51. Richard and Andrew at 50. I think that was a typo on my part. Sorry about that, guys. A lot of 48s, 47s as well. I'm at 50, John 45, Jerel 47, and your lowest week has been dropped now. So it's going to be a tight battle down to the end as always. But appreciate Hen Engineering for bringing you our pick'em contest each and every week. Our polls brought to you by First Team Sports Center. Check them out for whatever you need, all your gear needs, all your athletic needs. Check those guys out. Appreciate them helping us out and powering our polls. Jerel, you're the master of the polls. You take it over. Do you want to go 5A for 1A? What do you want to do? You make the call, and I'll let you go with it.
We started 1A 4 games of the week, so we'll go 5A this time. And
I will say once again, guys, we've been complaining about the other polls for years, how to do our own. So this is our poll. Us three came up with this, and we think it's pretty good. But go ahead, Jerel.
Yeah, I think this one remained the same here. We got Dutch Fork, number 1 overall spot, 2 first-place votes. Summerville right behind them at 1. James Island at 3. So we will see some movement probably here. Stratford coming in at 4. Ridgeview at 5 with Dorman receiving votes. I mean, I really like this Division I top 5. Love the low country flavor here.
Yeah, a lot of fun, following that group. Seeing Stratford in person last week was really, really cool. I was talking to the AD there, Dr. Burnett, and I was telling him, we get to travel and see games all across the state, all different classes. And a lot of times the 5A crowds aren't great. Just be honest with you. A lot of the times it's not. But that Stratford crowd, that Berkeley crowd, great atmosphere at the Castle on Friday, man. Both sides were into it. Packed house. Really, really cool to see. Love what they're doing in there at Stratford. Coach McDaniel's got a really good team this year.
Well, Steph, let's go to 5A Division II. We got Irmo leading the poll there with 2 first-place votes. Northwestern, number 2 spot, getting a first-place vote. TL Hanna Yellow Jackets at 3. The Greenville Red Raiders at 4. And the Berkeley Stags, they slide down a little bit to 5. I think this is also a solid top 5 here, guys.
I don't know if it was me or one of you guys. I can't really remember.
And I'm so sorry. Indian Land getting votes this week. So shout out to those guys.
Yeah, they're playing great football. And I kind of wanted to put them like a little bit higher in the poll, but I just don't know what to move there. This TL Hanna team really kind of confuses me. Like, I don't know if they're good or not. They've got a great win over Greenwood, but they've got a non-competitive loss to Burns earlier in the year. They went to overtime with Malden a couple weeks ago. They're hard to figure out. I think maybe it's just kind of the style they play. It's like it kind of, is conducive to seeing some of that stuff, it feels like there. Greenville, we'll find out a lot more about this week, see just how good they are. But I like that Berkeley team. Even though they lost last week, they had a 17-0 lead. They got a lot of great pieces. Henry Rivers is back. He's dynamic at quarterback for Coach Lodge there. A lot of athletic guys up front on defense, too, look really good for them, I felt like. But I think the top 2 are solid. Irmo Northwestern, probably the best 2 out of that group. But that 3, 4, 5 spot could be very fluid, it feels like, next couple of weeks.
Most definitely. I respect Northwestern still getting a first-place vote. I like Irmo. They have just been moving along, especially with the vital pieces that they lost. Man, Coach Brand's bunch has just been very, very impressive this year. But jumping down to 4A, this one's remained really static at the top. South Point receiving all 3 first-place votes. Another big win over Camden this past weekend. South Florence slides in at 2. We've moved Grove Collegiate up to 3. Daniel making their way into the poll here at 4. And North Augusta at 5 with Hilton Head Island receiving some votes after their big win over Bishop Bingley. Got to give a shout out to John there. He called that one in our new segment there.
Yes, John was all over that. That's the big move this week is Bishop England dropping out of the poll, and the score line of that one was really wild to me. I think Camden may have been there last week too. They dropped out as well, but another one similar to 5A Division II, where I feel like the top 2 is really solid. After that, got some movement there. We could see 3, 4, and 5 each week. It feels like.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to
good all year.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to win. I didn't think they were going to win like that.
We mentioned earlier, their one loss, James Island. They play good football.
Yeah,
most definitely. And a lot of these teams, look at what they've played this year. These 4A bunches, they have played some really, really great programs. A lot of them playing up as well. So no slouches there in that 4A top 5 in receiving votes category. In 3A, Oceanside Collegiate I just don't see this one moving at all, especially anytime soon. Newberry slots in at 2. Little bit movement here. We have Loris and BHP tying for 3rd this week, and Mountain View at the 5 spot.
I'll say it. I thought hard about going Loris at 2. After what Newberry did last week, 2 looked a little bit shaky. Loris, the big one on the road. Didn't quite make that move, but I did think about it when I was putting this poll in.
Yeah, I downgraded Newberry a little bit, and I wanted to put Loris higher. I just felt like I couldn't drop Newberry too far after winning. They still won. The object of every Friday night is to go out and win. Whether you win by 1 or you win by 100, they still won. But I thought about it. I thought about it for a while.
I mean, this is one of the divisions where I feel like a lot of them, 4A, 5A, I'd feel comfortable going 6, 7 deep in my poll. But I think 3A, I could legit go top 10, have no problem. And you got all these guys. You got Woodruff still out there. You got Dillon, who's a good team. You got Christchurch, Powdersville, Orangeburg, Wilkinson. I mean, that's one I think we could go 10 deep in 3A if we wanted to.
Easily.
Yeah, most definitely. And Courtney, I mean, he keeps mentioning BHP, big BHP fan, and we got to meet Courtney last year during the playoffs. It's a great point you're making. I think we've had them a little bit lower because of their schedule. I like to give credit more to the teams who have played a little bit stiffer competition, but it's no slouch and no ill feelings that we have towards that BHP program. They have lined up and smoked everybody they have played this year. So the Bears program is really getting after it, especially losing so many key players from last year's squad. Man, I've been really, really impressed with how BHP's played this year.
I mean, they're going to go undefeated regular season. I think. I mean, they're going to be 10-0 in the playoffs.
We'll find out now in the playoffs, but unfortunately, we're going to have to wait until then.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go to 2A. Central stays at that number 1 spot, receiving all 3 first-place votes. Again, they got a big-time matchup coming up next week against Andrew Jackson. Strom Thurmond slides up to 2. Huge win. I know Chris is in the chat talking about Batesburg-Leesville. We talked about them earlier in the show. That is a really good performance, even though they came up a little bit short in that game. But impressed with Thurmond, how they're able to bounce back, stick with it, and win that football game. Clinton, look at them, up to 3. Terrible team on upset alert. They slide in at 3 here. Fairfield Central at 4, and then Hampton County in the 5 spot. We have some receiving votes here, so we are very fluid in this 2A poll this week. Sherrod and Timberland also receiving votes.
And 2A, I kind of hinted at it earlier. Man, the upper state feels a lot deeper than the lower state. Our top 4 right here is all upper state programs. Lower state, I feel like we're kind of waiting on one team to kind of take the reins down there. And I thought it was going to be Hampton County. They've had a couple kind of, not great performances here and there. Sherrod has not looked great the last 2 weeks. Timberland, like John, is high on them. They played really good football this year. Lower state 2A, I feel like nobody has kind of stepped up and taken that number 1 spot. It feels like by the upper state is going to be a bloodbath in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's sleeping on Clinton anymore, Zach. I mean, they're at 3, solidly at 3. They'll continue probably to creep up here. And again, AJ, depending on what they're able to accomplish here, they could quickly be in this top 5. In 1A, remains the same. The top 2, Abbeville at 1, receiving all the first place votes. Bamberg right there with them at 2. Carvers Bay and Cross flip-flop this year, with Carvers Bay going to the 3 spot. And then Johnsonville at 5, Scotts Branch receiving some votes.
And I mean, Cross could certainly get back to 3 this week. If they beat Scotts Branch handily, they could jump back up there. Same thing in Carvers Bay. If they hammer Lakeview, they're going to obviously stay at 3. So we'll see. Another one that's interesting too, like you mentioned, Upper State was better in 2A. This one's the exact opposite. We got 1 Upper State team in the top 5, Abbeville, and then 4 lowers after that. So it'll be intriguing to see how that shakes out in Lower State, especially in the playoffs.
It's just the team, Abbeville, being there. I mean, and I'm really interested to see how that shakes out. I think lower state playoffs are going to be a lot of fun to keep up with, to see if that game is going to be competitive in Orangeburg. I got Abbeville penciled in going to Orangeburg. I'm sure you guys the same way, to see if somebody from, after going through a gauntlet in lower state, can give those guys a run for it.
I'd love to see that game.
Any comments from the chat on the poll, Jerel?
Let's see.
Just I didn't realize 2A was so tough this year. Yeah, a lot of good teams there. And you mentioned we didn't even have, Batesburg Leesville wasn't in there. There's a lot of great programs in 2A. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like every team, how do I want to say this? All the top teams are probably not quite as good as they were last year, if that makes sense. Like I feel like Clinton is still really good, probably not quite as good as last year. I feel like Fairfield Central, really good, not quite as good as last year. It's going to be really interesting to see how that shakes out once we get into the playoffs with a bunch of these guys going at it.
And I think it's cool because they lost like such high level talented players. I think like it was like those like Greer, there and Richard. They just had such good players. So I think that's why it's no knock on the programs or this year's teams. Right. It's just those guys were like playing out of their minds last year.
And I think the cool thing with 2A, we talk about the upstate for 2A. If you're in the lower state, if you're Hampton County, if you're Timberland, you some of these other good teams in the lower country, you got to be pretty excited about this because once that playoff bracket comes out, some of these teams are going to have to lose. So you get there's a lot of attrition going to be happening in that upper state bracket. And if you're in the low country, that's if I'm a low country fan, I go, hey, this is great for us because get them beat up, get them worn out before they get to Orangeburg a little bit.
And I know we'll talk about it obviously as we get into our playoff preview shows, but those two teams kind of in that flex region that get sent to the lower state, got to love that. And right now it would be Jerel and then either AJ or Central, depending on the winner of that game next week. If you go lower state into that 2 or 3 spot, you got to be pretty happy about that, you would feel like.
That's a great point.
Kent says Timberland's back, healthy, playing great football. Huge win last week, huge numbers on offense especially. Appreciate you tuning in, Kent. Enjoy you joining us here. Courtney says, respect y'all. Find out in the playoffs. Think we're a good team. They are certainly very good. BHP is very good. And I think they got a good chance to win Upper State again. Brandon says Swansea undefeated in 3A. They're playing football too. Coach Fox has done a great job with that program. Love what he's doing there. Brandon says MVP in Woodruff. Yeah, I think that's next week, I believe, actually, Brandon, on the schedule. I think it should be over at Woodruff.
That was a great game last year.
Chris says, just a heck of a game Friday. Yeah, Batesburg Leesville, I mean, and we talked about it earlier, Chris, like, very pleased with what we saw out of them. A team that, we weren't sure what we're going to get the last few weeks, and they really fought hard, played well, had a real chance to win that football game. I think that kind of hopefully wakes them up, kind of fuels them to make a deep run here down the stretch.
Last one, Kelly's always got a hard-hitting question for us, so make you guys think a little bit before we move on.
Kelly says, what team has grown the most this season so far? What player has grown the most too? I'm gonna start Greenville just because what we saw back in week 0, getting demolished by Dormant, to now reel off 5 wins in a row, be a top 5 team in our poll. I think Greenville, what they have done has been super impressive. Love the growth that Coach Watson and that bunch has seen. We talked to him preseason. Jerel interviewed him when he got hired, and he didn't seem the highest on this group. He wasn't really sure what he's going to get, what he had, and coming back for the Red Raiders. And man, they have been a really fun team to follow the last few weeks.
I want to get a Central page. This team they weren't a bad team last year. They were solid, but now, man, they're looking awesome.
Yeah,
every single week they have answered the bell. Had a big time game against Jerel, and they came to play and they won. I think we can't give them enough credit. And I say Central Pageland. I think there's a half a dozen more teams we could call out same way.
Yeah. Low-hanging fruit for me, man. I'll go Carver's Bay. It's a team that we keep talking about. I mean, they're a little bit off the radar this year. I mean, they just answered every test so far. They've been really, really good. Got a great history there, some great players to come through that program as well, but they've been fantastic. That's all we got here, guys.
Perfect. Shout out to our teams of the week. We had Hilton Head Island, big win over Bishop England. Carver's Bay, big win over Latta. And Andrew Jackson, big win over Jerel. All powered by Preferred Home Services. Once again, shout out our teams of the week: Hilton Head Island, Carver's Bay, Andrew Jackson. Our players of the week: Thaddeus Zarnecki at Hilton Head Island, getting it done on both sides of the football. E.J. Richardson at Lugoff Elgin John, 400 all-purpose yards in that big win over Blythewood last week. And then Preston Smith went for, I think, 330 on the ground for Midland Valley. Our players of the week insured by the Georgia Agency. Shout out to the Georgia Agency for bringing us that each and every week. Man, just another loaded slate this week, John. I've really enjoyed going through it with you guys, man. It seems like the talent in South Carolina keeps growing each and every year because there's more and more contenders, it feels like, as we get into this.
Yeah, for sure. And, I know people will say sometimes like, Upstate gets all the spotlight, all the glory. I am so excited about the Summerville James Island game. I mean, that's going to be a really fun one. And also you look at Bishop England May River. That's going to be a fun game. That's going to be a big time game as well. Really exciting week in the Low Country. Carvers Bay and Lakeview is going to be a fun one too, I think. Good time for Low Country PD football right now.
No doubt about it. As always, follow us on Facebook, on Twitter /X, on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and more at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS. Our website, movinchains.com. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. You can actually scan this QR code right here in the top corner. It'll take you right to our website. If you haven't been there before, go check it out. Lots of great stuff on there. Tune in for that. We do our weekly preview show live Tuesday night, 7:15. We break down all the games, our games of the week, along with the rest of the statewide slate. We have great player interviews, coach interviews, teams of the week, players of the week, pick them, all kinds of good stuff on social media throughout the week. So certainly check us out each and every day. Like you see on the screen there, get your limited availability Movin the Chains merch. Some great hats. Got a gray front hat, a black front hat, some more as well. Check them out on our website or on our social media pages. Get your stickers right now for your car, your laptop, your cup, whatever. Order your sticker now. Get your toboggan for that colder weather. Black and gray available. Some nice hoodies. We've got a gray hoodie and a wider hoodie. Order those as well. You can email info@movinchains.com, or you can DM us on social media. And also our gray T-shirt, black T-shirt, navy blue, or pink. Get you one as well. Love to see you guys repping this at the games, helping us grow the brand. We know that we get thousands of views each week, but there's a lot more folks who like high school football out there that we're not reaching yet. So we need to help you guys, have you help us get in front of them. So please order your merch, tell everybody you know, help us keep growing this program. Like I said, I want to shout out again the fans at Stratford and the Berkeley game last week. Met lots of great folks. Got to talk to Tim and Wayne from the Berkeley radio crew again. Got to talk to Slicker down there. Talked to Staggy, the Berkeley mascot. That was great. Talked to Stratford head coach Danny McDaniel, AD Dr. Burnett, Charleston Sports Center. Talked to those guys as well. Lots of great folks we got to meet and chat with. Shout out to Jake and Davis, Malik McGowan, Kermit Davis for emailing with us, for interviewing with us post game. Appreciate them as well. But had a great time down there, meeting a lot of new folks in the Low Country. But great ball game, great atmosphere. Had an awesome time down there. Jerel, John, final comments from you guys here as we wrap up this preview show.
I wish it was Friday.
It's almost there. Yeah, no. The message I give every week, you're listening to us on Tuesday to get out to a stadium on Friday. So make sure you go support your local, team there. If they're not playing, go support somebody else. So these guys work really, really hard. Winding down. We only got week 7 here. So it's getting down to the nitty gritty. So you're going to see some good football regardless of where you go. It's going to be, battles for playoff seeding, battles for region championships. So make sure you go out there. Make sure you follow us on all socials, especially YouTube. Go run that one up. It's lagging a little bit behind. We're getting close. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. So let's
get to 1,000. What's Jerel going to do?
I don't know. Eat a hat, something stupid. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you already get a hat.
Yeah, so we'll
maybe
do
like a 24-hour live. When we get to like 995, we'll just do a 24-hour live stream until we get 1,000 followers.
I don't think I can do that. I got a job and a wife, so we probably won't do that. But we'll do something else.
Jerel.
Not that.
How bad do you want these subscribers, Jerel?
Not that bad. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to Kevin too, man. He's really, me and John have been traveling a lot for work, so he's really been holding it down, especially on Fridays covering these games. This man's doing hot dog reviews in the rain, all kinds of stuff. So big for the brand, making it happen for you guys. So shout out to Kev.
Appreciate you, man. It's love of the game, love of the game. Any final chats, comments from the chat, Jerel, before John gives his sign off?
I think we might be at a long show. We're pushing like 140 here, so this is an all-time long show. I think everybody's commented out for the
perfect. Night. John, any final thoughts from you as we get sign off for the night?
No, I'm excited about it, and exactly what Jerel said. Go out to some of these games, support your community, support your kids.
certainly do that. But Moving the Chains is always brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. For Jerel, Hendricks, John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been our Week 7 preview show here on Moving the Chains, talking all things South Carolina high school football. We'll catch you guys next week.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin' the Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin' Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.